This is TWiT.
One more bit of good browser news, which is that browsers are once again saying no to Kazakhstan. We've reported this, all of these efforts incrementally through the years on the podcast, and we reported some time ago that the government of Kazakhstan had been requiring their citizens to install a Government of Kazakhstan CA root certificate into each of their machines. And of course, we know why. This would allow the government to perform what I would call no complaints, man-in-the-middle interception of all web traffic of any and all of their citizens. A Kazakhstan proxy would accept the remote connections from remote servers, decrypt, inspect, and then re-encrypt the traffic under the Kazakhstan CA's identity, which would then be trusted because the Kazakhstan citizens' machine would have had installed a matching root CA. So Google, Mozilla, Apple, and Microsoft all together said, no, you don't. All four of those companies' browsers were recently updated to block any and all use of that root certificate. A thread on Mozilla's bug reporting site first reported that this new certificate was discovered in use just over 3 weeks ago on December 6th. The Censored Planet website later reported that the certificate worked against dozens of web services that mostly belonged to Google, Facebook, and Twitter. So, Instagram and WhatsApp and, the various properties that each of those major social media sites own. And I guess, you got to give these Kazakhstan government cretins credit for trying. Remember back in 2015, the Kazakhstan government formally applied to have their root certificate included in Mozilla's Trusted Root Store program. But once it came to light that their entire purpose for this was to use the certificate to intercept their citizens' data, Mozilla denied the request. And then shortly afterwards, the government required its citizens to manually install its certificate when it couldn't get Mozilla to do so for them, but that attempt failed after organizations took legal action. And then, more recently, August before last, in 2019, all browsers blocked a similar attempt. And our listeners may recall the Kazakhstan government's dubious statement at the time. Reuters reported that, quote, Kazakhstan has halted the implementation of an internet surveillance system criticized by lawyers as illegal when the government described its initial rollout as a test. State security officials claimed they were trying to protect people in Kazakhstan from hacker attacks, online fraud, and other kinds of cyber threats. Kazakhstan's president said in a tweet back then that he had personally ordered the test, which showed that protective measures would not inconvenience Kazakhstan internet users. The president said, "Don't worry, nothing to see here. There are no grounds for concerns." So anyway, they have tried this yet again, and once again, they've been blocked. Back in August of 2019, we conjectured that the only feasible path for Kazakhstan, if they really insisted upon doing this, would be to create a Kazakhstan national web browser, and that then that would be the only one that would be allowed to work in country. But of course, the problem is these days, it's the mobile platforms that have become dominant, and it is unlikely in the extreme that either Apple or Google or Microsoft would allow such a privacy-violating browser to be hosted in their app stores. So its use will be strictly constrained to desktops, And it's not feasible to kill the operation of mobile applications these days.
It's so hard to be an evil dictator these days.
Isn't it? It really is, Leo. That darn technology just bites you every time,
man.
So at this point it's browsers 3, Kazakhstan 0, and that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon.